Hi guys, welcome and welcome back to my channel. If it's your first time here, please subscribe to this channel and I'm gonna appreciate you for that. To my old subscribers, thank you for always coming back. I do appreciate you guys a lot. Of course, you know that. So today's video, first of all, I'm back with the Ankara. Just all over the place. Today's video is I'm gonna be giving you, like, I'll be telling you the ugly truth about living alone, the pros and the cons, the do's and the don'ts, you know, the good sides and the bad sides. There are always two sides to every coin. So yeah, the advantages of living alone and the disadvantages. So like I always say, these things are at the top of my head and they are based off of my own experiences, because ever since I traveled out here, I think the only year I lived with a roommate was the first year that I came, and after that experience I don't think I ever want to live with a roommate ever again. Yes, I feel like living alone is just the best thing for anybody, no matter how hard the situation is, except you find yourself in a situation where you don't have a choice. But if you have a choice, it's always advisable to live alone. So I'm just going to tell you the good sides and then the bad sides. The first thing is that when you live alone, you have a sense, it gives you a sense of responsibility, and it gives you a sense of responsibility in the sense that you know that you're very conscious of the fact that you have bills to pay, you have food to eat, you have to buy food in the house to eat. And if you don't do all those things, if you don't work, you can never you're not benefiting off of anybody. There's nobody to help you. So it gives you that sense of responsibility, and it makes you to be driven. You know, it makes you to be driven. That way you know that you must work, because if you don't work, you won't have money to pay your rent. Nobody is sharing bills with you, nobody is sharing rents with you and all that. So it gives you that sense of responsibility, which I really like, you know, because at any point, if you are, for example, living with a roommate, you are a little bit relaxed, because you can actually have money for your bills and all that, and actually depend on somebody for bills, for food. I remember when I was living with a roommate, back then I was not working, I didn't have work, so all I had to do was to look for the small money that I could look for my rent, and then I would depend on my roommate for food. Like half of the time she bought food in the house for me. Fortunately enough, she was that kind of person who did not mind. So if you don't have somebody who really is, you know, really nice like that, it won't be funny. But when you live alone, you know at the back of your mind that you must be responsible enough to do things for yourself. That's the first thing. The second thing about living alone that I like personally is that I have my privacy, I have my space, I have time to myself. And everybody at some point in time just wants that space and time, and when you live alone, you have it all the time. And let me tell you something, I have been so used to the whole situation that I like my space all the time. I don't even know how it's gonna be when I start living with somebody, even if it's my husband. Yes, because I have been so used to living alone to the extent that there are times that I just don't want to talk. I just want to sit and relax and not talk to anybody or chat. You know, I just want to Netflix and, you know, eat my popcorn and just be myself and think. And everybody needs that space. I feel like even people that live together, at some point in time, you feel like you need space for yourself alone. You just don't want to talk to anybody. So yes, when you live alone, you have that time, you have that space, you have that privacy to do anything you want to do inside your house. Yeah. The next point I'm going to tell you is everything in your house is yours. Everything in this house is mine. When you have that satisfaction at the back of your mind and you know that everything that is in the house is yours, it's very, very satisfying. You know, it's very satisfying to know that you own everything inside the house. So for me, that's a plus. When I sit and I feel like, okay, this bed is mine, this sofa is mine, this, you know, everything here belongs to me. It's actually something that makes me feel very, very happy. So that's another thing. And then another point is, for me, I can walk naked. Like, you can have that privacy to do whatever you want to do. There are so many things that I do in this house naked. Like, I don't even want to go into details, but you have that right of walking naked, eating naked, sleeping naked. You know, half of the time when I'm at home, I'm actually almost naked, or I'm just putting on something very small. Like, that's the advantage you have when you live alone. But if you are with a roommate, especially if the person is an opposite sex, you want to make sure you're well dressed all the time. So yeah, that's something else too as well about living alone. So I really, really like that about it. The next point is that you are making your rules for yourself. Your house is where you are the master. because you live alone, you know your rules. You don't have the issue of confronting somebody and asking them, oh, why did you keep this here, why did you put this here? If you are an OCD person, you always have your OCD situation, because especially people like that, I feel like if you are that kind of person, you should never even live with somebody except the person is really your husband or so. Because people like that they can't even deal with people that are not organized like me. So when you live alone and you are, you know, organized like that, you don't have the problem of leaving or coming to ask questions like, oh, why are you eating here, why do you have to do this, why do you have to do that? And on the other hand too, if you are somebody who is not really that organized like me, you won't have the problem of asking somebody like, why did you remove my thing from here and put it there? It was here, it was not organized, but I remember where I kept it. Because me, that's always my problem. I know it's not that organized, it's there, I know where it is. If I want it, I know where I'll put my hand and get it, you know. So that's just how it is. You don't have those kind of problems, you don't have confrontations and all that. Let's go now to the bad sides, or the cons about living alone. The first thing is that you can actually leave the bad rooms, fall down and die. Something can happen to you and you die alone in your house without anybody knowing. Without anybody knowing for days. Yes, for days upon days. And that's actually very scary. It's a very scary thing that when you live alone, you always have that thought behind your head. And it makes you super extra careful. Yes, that's the truth. That's the first scary thing about living alone. The next thing is that you don't have anybody that you share bills with. Everything you have to pay by yourself. For example, me, I have always lived in studio apartments. And basically, studio apartments here are like big open areas, or not really necessarily big. Some are big, some are not big. For example, the one that I have now is actually big. A big open area where you have the kitchen section, you have the dining section, or, you know, it's just a big open area. Then you yourself would divide it the way you want. Yeah, so everything is basically in the same area, but you can decorate it and divide it the way you want. So you don't have anybody to share bills with. And this kind of a place, you have to pay yourself. If it's expensive, you pay the rent yourself, you pay the bills yourself, and that's sometimes it's financially exhausting. So that's one thing about living alone too, that it's not really that good. What else? You don't have somebody to talk to all the time. Like sometimes there's a time that you actually want to talk with somebody that you see, somebody that you can actually touch, you know. There are some gists that you want to talk to somebody, you know, and you don't have. You can all you have is your phone. You can only call and talk to people on phone. But sometimes it can feel really lonely, if I'm being honest with you. If you are somebody like me who does not really like talking to people, I don't know, maybe it's because I've been so accustomed to living alone that I don't feel that way anymore. Yes, but sometimes it can get very lonely. You don't have anybody to talk to. If you don't want to talk on the phone, you can actually stay for a whole day without talking. Yes, it happens. It literally happens. So that's another thing about living alone. The next point is you don't have help, and help in the sense that you can be in the house and you're sick and you need help, like you need somebody to at least cook food for you, or go to the groceries for you, or do your laundry for you, or even the dishes. You don't have that help. You have to do everything by yourself. You have to clean by yourself. And if it's a situation where maybe it's something like flu, you know how when you have flu, it's a very uncomfortable situation. It's not like something that you can go and sleep in the hospital, but it's also not something that when you have, you can be in the house and try to do things. So that's a situation where you cannot do anything and you literally need help as much as you can get, but no one is there to help you. So that's another thing too. You don't have that immediate help. You can't call somebody immediately to like cook you food or go to the groceries for you and all that good stuff. So those are the few points that I could come up with for this video for you guys. If you have any other additional things, like which one do you prefer? Do you prefer to share with roommates, or do you prefer living alone? Let me know in the comment section below, because personally I don't ever, like after I lived with a roommate the first year I traveled, I decided never again to live with somebody, you know, except that person is my relative, except the person is my sister, you know. I can't ever again, or maybe the person is my husband, but say I'm sharing a room with somebody, just a friend, no. I just feel like, no, I'm not that person. Like, I'm not a roommate type of person. So which do you prefer? Do you prefer to stay with a roommate or to stay alone? For me, I always want to stay alone. truth be told, I always want to live alone, except it's with my husband, boyfriend, or maybe my best friend or my sister. But if you are not under that category, I cannot live with you. I'm not living with you. Go and live on your own. Let me go and live on my own. So let me know your preference. Thank you guys for watching. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, share the video, subscribe to my channel if you are not, and see you in my next video. Before I go, stay pretty, stay slaying, and keep smiling. Bye guys.